Stick working come Miller time.
You know, I can foresee a lot of possible outcomes to this thing, and not a single one of them involves Miller time.
PMA. Positive mental attitude.
Thank you. And next, the convoy organizers, please.
Good morning.
My name is Brendan Miller, and I'm counsel for Freedom Corp, which is the corporation and entity that represents that were in Ottawa in January and February of 2022. So first, again, you've said you were at all of the IRG meetings, correct? And that you were at all, or at the cabinet meeting on the 13th?
Yes.
All right. And I understand in your position as essentially assistant deputy minister, as a bureaucrat within government, there is times that you have to interpret legislation. Is there?
That is something that public servants would do in consultation with, usually you have advice from lawyers
Right.
on the interpretation, but yes.
But, and you again, you do it yourself at times, right? You, within your ministry, because you agree that there's legislation sets out what you can do and what you can't do. Is that fair?
Well, the first part of your question, no, I don't protect legislation on my own. And I believe the second part of your question is correct. Government passes legislation that sets out what their vision and intent for legislation, and in some cases it says what you can and you do.
Okay. And can you agree in this circumstance, you're aware that the Emergencies Act requires for its invocation for there to be a finding, there to be a threat to the security? Okay. And can you agree with me that a threat to the security of Canada in the Emergencies Act, from your understanding, has the same meaning as it does in Section 2 of the CSIS Act?
I'm going to decline to answer this question. I'm sorry. I feel that in my current responsibilities and my knowledge and understanding that I can answer that question for you.
Okay. Can I please bring up document COM 0000739, please? It's just one of the commission documents, actually. Okay, can we scroll down, please? Scroll down. And scroll down. There we go. Thank you. Okay, this is one documents, and I just want to know if this is your understanding at the time, okay? This is something that the commission has wrote. It says, threats to the security of Canada has the same by Section 2 of the Canadian Security Intelligence Act. Do you have any reason to disagree with that?
Again, I don't feel expert enough to be able to answer that question.
Were you ever advised that that was the case prior to the invocation of the Emergencies Act?
Sorry, objection, Mr. Commissioner. That question invites a question of legal advice. So obviously
Okay.
she cannot answer if it concerns legal advice.
I'm not by a lawyer. What about CSIS, the RCMP, the Canadian Security Intelligence, or Canadian Security Intelligence Establishment, all of the other civil servants outside of the DOJ? Did they ever advise you of that?
Me personally?
You,
No.
in a group of people?
There would have been discussions about this But I think those questions, about, were, put to the National Security and Intelligence Advisor yesterday. I would defer to whatever answers she provided to the commission. Yes, these questions.
Okay.
I don't feel in a position that I can answer those questions very specifically.
Right. And
Based on the role and the abilities that I had in supporting the Privy Council office and at the time of the events that transpired.
so can I ask this question? Outside of the National Security Intelligence Advisor yesterday, where you heard her advising that there was going to be legal argument that this means something different than it says, and then there was going to be, no one seems to be able to answer this. You understand, though, that to invoke an emergency under the Emergencies Act, that you can only do so if certain legal requisites under that act are met. Is that fair?
I think I'm going to decline to answer this question. Thank you.
Okay. And can you agree that many ministers have stated in public that law enforcement advised them that the threshold to invoke the act was met? Have you heard them say that?
I don't know that I can answer that either.
Okay. We have not heard, we've heard all of law enforcement so far testify. And it doesn't appear that anyone in law enforcement advised them that the threshold to invoke the CSIS Act was met. Do you agree with that?
I have no idea. I'm sorry, I'm not in a position to answer that question either.
Okay. And just for my last point, Coots, right? The arrests that were made at Coots, those were done solely by the local contra the province, Alberta RCMP. It's done at a national level. Is that fair?
That's my understanding, that it was the RCMP.
Right. And those arrests at Coots and the operations that they were carrying out in arresting those individuals for conspiracy to commit murder and et cetera, you didn't know about that, and Cabinet didn't know about that until after the act was invoked.
But others would have known who would have known what before the operation was executed. I myself, in conversations that I was witness to, was aware that there were threats of violence to persons and a worry about the safety of officers, and that was all we knew. And I have to say, in conversations that I was party to, MP was very careful about all.
So it's fair to say that that you were party to, you didn't know about the undercover operation in Coots or the individual, what they were up to?
No, I was aware that there was a threat of violence, that there was thought to be firearms involved.
Right.
And there were threats to the safety of the officers there.
Right.
And they were proceeding, and that's the extent of what I would have known about that situation.
But no one advised you that it was such a threat as to be serious violence or terrorism or violent extremism that would meet the threshold in the CFR?
So I think I've already clarified what I knew. I can't speak to what others knew, so I think I need to leave it there.
Thank you. Those are my questions, and I think I have quite a bit of time left. I would like to cede that time to the province of Alberta.
Okay. Again, assuming that's doable, I will call on maybe we'll take the morning break at maybe appropriate time, and we can come back in 15 minutes.
The commission is in recess for 15 minutes. Si la commission elle avait pas question.